Mhm. Good morning. That's unusual. Where's Cleve? Morning, Will. Morning, Cheryl.
Oh,
Alan. Well, Cheryl is not unusual. Cheryl's always early. But Cleve, yeah, I know it's take it's fatigue. Oh, where's Cleve? Oh, thank you, Cleve. You're back. Right. All right. Um.
Morning. I feel a little bit more rested today.
Oh yeah. Well, to be honest, some days it feels like if you just sleep another 20 minutes, yeah, I can feel that. All right.
deal.
Um,
Alex, did you see that article I posted yesterday in the chat about the trusted anchor key issues?
um, no, I
Okay.
missed that. Would
Yeah,
you
they have.
report? Would you please repost it again, please?
Sure. Basically, somebody, an employee for a company that provides the secure boot keys that would be embedded in the firmware, um, for some
Uh-huh.
reason exposed one of the private keys on like a GitHub site, which was then compromised for over, I think, 500 different. They've got a list of all the hashes of all the keys that were actually compromised. So I'll
Oh,
post
I
that
Just,
here in a
saw it.
second.
I saw it, but I didn't read it. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Alan, just the hashes or the actual
Well,
keys
so
that,
so Ars Technica is obviously the website. I'll post that up here in a second. But
right?
they posted a list of all the compromised, Acer and a bunch of others. So let me get that here real quick.
Ah, yeah. Oh, thank
wasn't
you.
it like 500 different hardware manufacturers across the whole lines or something like that?
Yeah, well, not five. I don't think 500 hardware
All right.
manufacturers. 500
All right.
individual keys. Hold on
Oh,
a
all right.
second.
I just saw the number 500, and like I said, I
Yeah,
didn't read it. I apologize. I'm still
no, you're
waking up.
good. You're good. I just found it interesting since we were talking about the trusted anchor yesterday.
No, yeah, it's I mean, anchors the concept of you. I don't know if you're into fishing. I've done a lot of fishing.
Hmm.
And hello, April. Yeah, no, not.
Here it
Yeah,
is.
and
It's secure boot broken on 200 plus models from 5 big device makers, and I will post
ooh,
that right now. Yeah,
yeah,
it's juicy.
yeah. When you if you're into fishing and you go fishing in a boat, and then anchoring, yeah, it's important. You kind of begin to understand, really begin to understand the concept of anchoring, right? You need to have some solid foundation below you, so
Right.
you're not being carried away by the currents and stuff. But yeah. Oh, thank you for sharing that. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's really interesting.
There's more to it. Oh, that's page 2. Weird.
All right. All right. Let me share with you my slides. Okay. Yeah. This slide. So we will finish domain 4 today. Sure, we will. Gosh, Hiroshi. So they go over the WAP. So 323. Some of you may remember those standards. Not required for the exam. Apparently, never mentioned here. But yeah. Transmission of voice traffic over IP-based networks.
It's a blank screen, Alex. Good morning.
Again, no. I mean, and when I say no, I don't mean I'm not welcoming you. I'm welcoming you, but where is it? Oh, they say infinity mirrors. Let's do it again. Next time we should try a different platform, not the Google Meet. And I mean, meet next time if you're gonna take some other class. I mean, I'm booked until end of August. But yeah, the next class I'm delivering. Sorry, give me a moment. Delivering the next class, the next bootcamp I'm delivering is to CISSP. Yeah, right. Can you see it? It says voice over internet protocol. VoIP.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's not much juicy stuff, and actually my instructor guide doesn't give much, but from my experience I'll tell you that if you're curious, Google VoIP hoppers, VoIP hopper, yeah, it's a cool utility. So yesterday we talked about this specifically. You know, some of the networks, they're not separated enough. And so I traveled a lot, and I've been to, right now I've been to 54, 55 countries. In a lot of countries, hotel networks, they're not diverged. They are merged together. And so you plug your laptop and you can see everything. And potentially if you use VoIP hopper, you can intercept VoIP, voice over IP protocol. You can record it, you can replay it, you can modify it. What's interesting, yeah, in some cases you can, now with the artificial intelligence, you recapture the voice and you can replay it, you can modify it, you can replay it, modify it. So the pods at the bottom of the screen, there's a word pods. If it shows on the exam, it means plain old telephone system. Yeah, that's what it means. Okay, pardon me. So cut through forward and cut through switching can reduce network latency by processing the packet before the whole packet has been received. The alternative is to receive the whole packet. So if we go back, it's communication channels, right? So, and of course, this will depend. Again, let me remind you, I did not design the slides. If I designed the slides, I would indicate it completely the context, its capacity of the router or switch, right? Because this obviously the context would should indicate, but it doesn't, the capacity of router or switch. And the capacity of router depends on what? CPU and memory. So the more CPU it has, the more memory it has, the more it can store and forward. But if router is overloaded, obviously it doesn't have much capacity to store and process packets later. So it has to either process them right away or discard them and retransmit them later. All right, anyways. Remind me if you're curious. I have a link. I think I have a link. Did I share with you yesterday a link about Faraday cage? It's an experiment from Israel, from Ben Gurion University. Anyways, it's not for the exam, but if you're curious, or you can Google it. Just Google it. Faraday cage experiment, Ben Gurion University, escape Faraday cage. Yeah. So physical segmentation. So high assurance environments have separate networks for device management and data processing. This is described as out-of-band management. So it's perfectly acceptable in many environments to manage the infrastructure on the same network that process transactions in band. But design, this configuration will be less secure. So in some high assurance environments, and think about military deployments or SCADA and stuff. So some high assurance environments have standards that include statements such as no network connection shall exist that bridges northbound or southbound connections, firewall, internal microelectronic architecture by design has a total separation between inbound and outbound interfaces. A firewall software will inspect all traffic, no sampling. So to be honest, again, okay. So let me read this again. It's actually, I'm reading this because I've never seen it myself personally. I've never worked in this kind of environment, but some high assurance environments have standards that include statements such as no network connection shall exist that bridges northbound or southbound connections. Firewall internal microelectronic architecture by design has total separation between inbound and outbound interfaces. So this will be indicator of the high assurance environment. So if on the exam, sorry, I'm still drinking my first cup of coffee. Maybe that's why. So if on the exam you see that says some high assurance environments have standards that include statements like that, yeah, that would be an indicator of high assurance environments. All right. So, and that's why I mentioned Faraday cage, because air-gapped networks nowadays, well, not many of us have worked in air-gapped environments. I mean, yeah. So some air-gapped environments, well, they have been demonstrated. They've been like 15 years ago. Yeah, the first time Polish researchers from Poland, they demonstrated they escaped air-gapped networks. But anyways, we want to finish this domain 4, so we don't want to just talk about hypothetical stuff. Yeah. So virtual applications and desktops. Virtual terminal services enable remote access to server resources, providing users remote workstations. Everybody here probably use Citrix, VNC. Yeah, virtual private networks. We talked about this a lot yesterday, including IPsec. So yeah, those can be used to establish site-to-site connections. There's no really takeaways from this slide, at least not in my instructor guide. But yeah, before COVID, it was kind of a novel thing. Not every, well, a lot of companies use that, but really COVID that triggered the full use, right? I'm not going over this slides much because, I mean, as you can see, it's if you're looking at, unless you're not looking at, maybe you're still in bed sleeping and you're relying on me reading this, let me know that I'll read more. But yeah, it's not covering much here because there's not much to cover. All right. If you're in your bed, if you're still asleep, then now is the moment probably you want to wake up and take your phone to take the screenshots. So you have domain 4 quiz. Which network topology is deterministic? Wow. And this is a tricky question, so I can read it for you, the answer. Well, and again, but for the exam purposes, think about how AC Squared designs questions. They want questions to be tricky. And they want you to pick up the best answer, right? Oh, need another cup of coffee. So
And
because Charlie, did you say Charlie? I hope you said Charlie. Charlie is the best answer. Well, and Charlie.
I think my confusion is understanding the word deterministic.
What do they mean by that?
All right, so let's read the official feedback. Ring. Oh my gosh. not the engagement ring, but ring is a closed loop technology that deploys a token to determine which mode transmits next. By using tokens, it is possible to predict the maximum time a node must wait before it will transmit. Yeah. I'll be honest with you, networking has never been my forte, but yeah, it's Charlie. So, okay, I'll read it again. Ring is a closed loop technology. So out of all those like bus, star, ring, mesh, right? With mesh, of course, it would be unpredictable, right? So I guess the deterministic is the opposite of the word predictable, no? The unpredictable, I mean. Yeah, anyways.
Yeah, there's a explanation of non-deterministic. It's the potential for collisions is what's is part of what makes Ethernet non-deterministic.
Right.
So with the ring, so with the ring network and using tokens, it's deterministic because you can say with some level of assurance that there won't be collisions. Is that?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah,
makes
because
sense.
yeah. Because like in the token setup,
yeah,
in the token setup, there's imagine the ring, and you have to have a ticket or a token, pardon me. And once you get that, basically the whole network is only open just to you until that message is picked up and delivered, and then the token process starts again, because the token ring network, it only runs 4 and 16 megabits, but there are no collisions because of the token process.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you, Cliff. Yep.
Google.
Hopefully that made sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. I used to install Token Ring way back in the day. Yeah, it makes sense.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I honestly, networking is not my forte. Sorry, but thank you for sharing that. It's definitely supports other learners here. Kind of similar, right? Concept, kind of similar. Because you wait for your turn, you wait for your ticket.
I would say delta on that one.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, man.
So then it is going to be the on a wireless.
Right. The context here, yeah, it's so the part of the Institute of Electronics Engineers, whatever. It's 802 that gosh, 802.11, yeah. The standard says the clear to send message is used by carrier sends multiple access collision avoidance CSMACA to advise other connected nodes to say I stay off a given frequency. Yeah. Yeah, the context here is 802.11. Yeah, sorry. I'm saying sorry because I'm still I need another cup of coffee. So here's the context is OSI model, right? The context. So when you see this domain quiz questions, whatever they are, yeah, that's the best value for you to understand the context and how they AC square, how they design the questions and the answers. So the layer 2, you remember, it's not the physical layer, right? And it's not yet IP layer. It's not the IP layer yet.
It's the MAC layer,
Right, absolutely.
but that's hard coded in. So is that considered physical or logical?
Well, that's the translation question, right? That's where the ARP translates it.
It's D.
It's the delta.
It's delta, absolutely. So that's where the logic has been translated to the mark. You're right, absolutely. Very good reasoning. Very good reasoning.
Alpha.
Well, don't jump yet. Read the question, understand the context. Network-based attack, intermediate system. And that's a very tricky because you remember potentially, man in the middle can be staged at layer 2, layer 3, layer 4, layer 5, layer 6, layer 7. So they don't give you much context here. That's tricky, right? But yeah. Okay, let me read the reasoning, because I would look at alpha, to be honest, personally, because that's, and it's correct. It's alpha, but it's not specifically alpha. So I guess they want you to be thinking like specifically what kind of alpha, right?
All right. And with that, again, English is not my forte. It says allows an attacker to pose as an intermediate system. So I would think man in the middle, but with the word pose, most people don't know that a man in the middle attack's going on.
Absolutely, I would think the same. That's why, to be honest, when I saw this question first time, I chose alpha, but no. So, and this one I don't know how to explain. My explanation would be they want you to pick up the more specific one. The more specific one, yeah. And then again, yeah, network based. What is network based? Yeah. Anyways, let me read the explanation, official explanation. Correct answer, feedback. Address Resolution Protocol, ARP, is used to resolve IP to MAC address. If successful, RP spoofing attack allows all of victims' traffic to be sent through the attacker. True, but there's so many other, right? Well, in this case would be alpha or delta. I don't see any other. But alpha in this case is a broad category of these attacks. And delta, is very specific. So,
Right. And so one of my CISSP things explains it. ARP spoofing refers to the man in the middle technique, where the MAC address of the attacking server is linked to the IP address of the legitimate recipient. So,
yeah, that's how I kind of interpret it. Yeah, but so delta is very specific in this case. Alpha is broader category of this types of attacks. Yeah. So what is multicast?
B, one too many.
Oh, one too
Um,
many, that it would be D. D is in
ID.
Delta.
No, in this case it says beta. It's strange. Why too many? Yeah.
Never heard it referred to it that way. One too many of many.
I've never heard it one too many of many, just one too many transmission.
Guys, that's why I emphasize every time that I had I had no input on the slides. I'm just taking this for IC square.
Oh,
But
forget that one.
to be honest, one too many of many. That's well, actually it does sound like multicast, but so I mean let's look at the other options. So alpha 1-to-1 definitely not multicast, right?
Unicast.
Exactly.
Oh,
So delta 1-to-1 of many, 1-to-1 doesn't work. Doesn't sound logical,
yeah,
but
that's
still
right.
kind of by exclusion, right? But one to everyone, that's a possible, right? But apparently they don't want.
Anycast?
Yeah, exactly. So by exclusion, if you work by exclusion, if you kind of take time, work by exclusion, then yeah, it brings you to this one, B, beta. So oftentimes,
B.
don't jump at the very obvious choice. Try to work by exclusion. Yeah. Well, in this case, beta is a very good answer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But oftentimes you have to. Hmm. I'm sorry if you hear me. If you hear me drinking my coffee, it's like. All right. So this one is you have to work by exclusion, right?
D.
Connectionless data transfer. Connectionless with no error detection or correction, right?
It'll
That's
be
the,
D, right?
Okay.
yeah, it's only D delta because it's connectionless, right? No error detection or correction. Let's see. Yeah. And I'm saying load C because I mean I'm making my best guess, but I until I click I don't see the answer. So yeah. All right. So it's UDP, right? And the keywords, I hope everybody understands the keywords here, right? The connectionless. Yeah. All right. Um, this one was tricky to me, and I got it wrong when I first looked at this. I got it wrong because yeah. I thought it would be well known, but it's not well known. Okay.
So beta.
Beta, yes. It's not well known. Personally, when I tried this question first time, like 3 years ago, I'm looking like must be must be well known, but I was wrong. Yeah, it is registered, and I guess they paid enough money to get it registered because normally registered, you remember, under 1023, right? Below. But I guess Microsoft has enough money and they paid and they got it. They got it registered. So I know Firewall doesn't make good coffee, even though I would like it. So don't overthink this one. Let's look at by exclusion.
A.
And why did you pick up A? Because I would pick up G, to be honest.
A is a switch.
D.
Yeah, but okay. I don't know how I passed the exam, but the first time I looked at this, I picked up D, delta, to be honest. But the correct answer is yes, A. All right. All right. Andale. I'm sorry. I mean, yeah, let's move on. Layer 2 services. Oh gosh. Layer 2 services. So layer 2. Think of layer 2, right? So IP would be layer 3, right? TCP would be layer 4.
It'd have to be C.
UDP would be layer what? 3 also,
3.
right? No, 4. 4. UDP would be 4, right? Same as TCP.
Right.
So by exclusion, you arrive to layer
C.
C. So by exclusion.
Mhm.
All right, guys. Let's take a break. Let's take a break. How many minutes? 2 minutes plus 5. 7 minutes. Yeah, for me to switch the slides. We are done with domain 4 officially, and then we'll start domain 5, and then if you decide, we'll do poll. We will do the example, the database of the questions, official questions. Yeah. All right. Where's my? This Google thing, Google whatever the app is called. Oh yeah.
Mm.
Sorry, guys. In case you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm opening slides, and since I don't have the Microsoft Office, sometimes it's a little bit challenging. Yeah. For domain 5. All right. And I don't have the glasses anymore. So I was mugged, like I was robbed when it was 10 days ago, more than 10 days. But yeah, I still don't have the glasses. It, I didn't have money with me. I had very little money, like $5. But the glasses, yeah, I had an Italian frame, and yeah, I need to get new glasses. I have multifocals usually, and working with laptop. Anyways, yeah, I did open it. Buckle up, Virginia. That's what I used to see in my state. Um, so any questions about domain 4? And I mean, if not in general, but yeah, if you have specific questions, we can still go back and kind of talk about stuff. Okay. So we are on domain 5, very small domain. Domain 4 was huge, huge. That's why it took us so long. I mean, it's not because we were slow, but it was just so huge. Again, so we are in control physical, logical access to assets, right? Makes sense so far? Yeah. Gosh. Yeah. Just a moment, please. Yeah. Let's go back for a second. Why we go back for a second? Because the context of the questions will be important. So pay attention whether it's physical or logical, right? Okay. And I mean on the exams. Yeah. So let's cover some basics just in case. Obviously, this is an abstraction diagram, so it's not to be interpreted literally. Like, oh my gosh, it doesn't apply to every case, apply to every scenario. Oh, it's still very hot. Anyways, so if you don't have any questions on this slide, just in case, I will. Objects, obviously, is the information assets or system resources, right? Subjects, any person, process, device, or any entity that wants to access any of these objects. And access can be thought of in terms of database terms or application terms and stuff like that. So do you remember of the AAA authentication, authorization, and accounting? AAA may come on the exam, though I think it's unlikely, but who knows? I did not I did not design the exam. So, all right, I think we've done enough time on this slide. Yeah, unless you have any questions. 1, 2, 3, go. So there's 3 choices. Centralized administration means that one function is responsible for configuring access controls so that users can access data and perform relevant activities, right? So usually if once approved, established procedure, then there's appropriate authority, then yeah, you have the access. Um, so yeah, that the implication is yeah, there's a process and so on, right? Established process. So decentralized in contrast to centralized, and probably for the exam you need to remember, usually you just need to distinguish, right? Distinguish. So centralized in contrast to centralized, decentralized or distributed administration. Distributed is centralized, obviously. Means that access to information is controlled by the owners or creators of the files, whoever it is, right? So, and probably the easiest way to think of this is if you manage what is it called, Spotify, right? Spotify, right? So yeah, you manage the overall infrastructure, but the access, the individual access is controlled by those creators of their accounts and stuff. So when the hybrid obviously would be some sort of combination of this. Is I don't know if Spotify would qualifies which one would be probably hybrid. Yeah.
Well, hybrid, the admin sets the controls or permissions around it. So even though it's a mixture, you still have someone being gatekeeper to most of the.
Please don't take this literally. You just need to conceptually remember this. If you take this literally, you'll probably fail this question on the exam. But yeah, you're right. Okay. Then, so access controls. Think of Facebook access, right, or TikTok. Someone sent you a link to view, but does require you to have an account, right? So it does require you to have authorize or deny use for individual users. And when you think about all of these questions that we look in, all of the slides, if I mean, I don't know if you're still asleep or not, but ideally try to imagine it in a case of a real application, and don't be afraid to use case of Facebook, TikTok, or um, PeopleSoft, whatever. I mean, I'm not sure what your applications, but yeah, I like PeopleSoft because I actually hacked them once, and yeah, they flagged me. So physical, for a lot of people, it's very easy to understand physical, right? You come for a job interview, they verify your ID, driver's license probably in the States, passport. Well, a lot of Americans don't have a passport, but then they send you in, they escort you, or if you do auditing and you come into a data center, kind of similar, but they escort you, they monitor where you go. So physical access control systems.
What is PACS?
Right. Be able to recognize it. Physical access control systems. I normally I don't see it, to be honest. And to be honest, outside of the IC square, I don't see this acronym. But yeah.
And see, in healthcare, PACS is picture archiving communication systems or something like that.
You see, you see, it's yeah, in different contexts. This acronym means different things, but no, but and again, it's good point. So remember, with all questions on IC square exam, context is important, right? So if you see they talking about physical, blah blah blah, then PACS will definitely should trigger your association with physical access control systems, right? So here you said PACS can refer to both physical access control systems and specific policies, procedures, and standards. Yeah. Even though I, well, anyways, doesn't matter because you remember I showed you the 800-53. There's nothing, there's no mention of PACS, but okay, it doesn't matter. Or you want to pass the exam, and after you pass the exam, you go back to your office and you start using your acronyms and terms. The first bullet point must be a big surprise to you, right? I'm joking. Obviously, it must be protected. Obviously. Right? As part of asset inventory, and we talked about inventory in the past. I think it was module 1 or 2. Yeah. Well, let's check your understanding. What are the main considerations that should drive the implementation of physical and logical? Like all that applies. So let's start by exclusion, right? Charlie, log analytics services.
Yeah, we can exclude that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Well, let's, oh gosh. Sorry. Mhm.
A, B, and D. Definitely D.
Yeah. So A is the best answer, right? Or D, or that.
D is the best thing, but it says all that apply. So I was looking at the ones that all apply.
Well, that I would not apply to most of organizations around the world. 99% of organizations around the world do not use 800-53, right?
Oh, so maybe D wouldn't be there.
No,
But the data owner,
beta wouldn't be applicable to most of organizations around the
right,
world, right?
right.
And a lot of organizations around the world would not have
Well,
log analytics services. They
that's
would,
not what IC Square says. It says that the data owner is responsible for the controls of an asset, responsible to ensuring proper controls of an asset, something like that. So wouldn't D would be part of the answer, I would think.
yeah. Well, outcome of the risk management exercise. What is the outcome? So the very first step is we determine the accreditation boundary. Remember, FIPS 199. And then the second step, you use 800-60, and that's in the federal government. Then you determine the value of the asset, right? And then the baseline is determined, right? You apply what controls are assigned. So delta in this case would be the best answer. Yeah. So again, okay, you first, it's federal government or not federal government, in ISO 27000, it's kind of the same. It's called differently. It's not called accreditation boundary, it's called applicability statement. So you delineate what are you protecting, because you remember, um, in some cases in large organization, you may have, and I gave you very basic example. When you have 100, you work for a dental office or medical office, and you have 100 computers, but only two of those computers, they process regulated data. That's your accreditation boundary, just two computers. You want to secure those. You don't want to spend money on securing everything. So, and then, so once you define the accreditation boundary, you define it, then the next step you define, but this step is not included here. There's no accreditation boundary determination. So the next step is to define, once you know that two computers contain regulated HIPAA data, for example, or PCI data, then you define the value of the asset. And so, yeah, in this case, data is the best option. All right. So guys, we can, at this point, we caught up with the schedule. We are on schedule, and we can continue with the slides, or we can, I can switch. If you give me a couple of minutes, I can switch to the sample questions. We can go back to sample questions. And given question, sample questions, practice question 74, about half. Yeah. It's, so what's the trend? So we can do probably about 20 questions today, 30 questions. And we are in time right now. So I don't know how to do polling here, because I wish Vincent was here. Okay. Start a poll. Okay. Doing this. Continue with slides. No, I'll just simplify slides or questions. And you have two options. Slides, questions. And it's not mutually exclusive, right? So, I mean, you'll cover them both. But the question is when. Right. Launch. So there's poll, and I'll wait about 10 seconds. Did I kill the poll?
It's working.
Oh, it's working. Okay, thank you. So, um, yeah, because thank you. Well, yeah, because this platform is new for me, so I'm not. Yeah. So let's wait for 2 minutes, and then we'll move on. Mhm. Um, Guys sitting on the fence, please jump in.
Yeah, for some reason I'm not able to get on the poll.
Well, feel free to articulate it verbally, April.
Yeah, no, I will. If I can't get on, I will.
I don't think anybody will crucify you if you say it one way or the other.
I want to see if I can get the poll. Activities. There we are.
Right, right.
All right.
So
Okay.
the main four was huge, the biggest one. Probably. Is it the biggest one? Well, it's definitely 4 times bigger than the main five. So, all right. I don't have the total number, but like we have 5-1 for the question. So let's do that. Yeah. I'll stop sharing just for 30 seconds, just to open the slide stuff. And then we'll resume questions from question 74. Okay. Mhm. Somebody wants to say something? I hear some sounds, but all right. And yeah, do take notes. Well, I mean, whatever your memory type is. For me, it's physical, I mean, mechanical memory. So if I write it down, and I'm serious, I passed a lot of exams, and if I write it down, that's what I've done. And then right now, I'm preparing to pass the CCSP, the Certified Cloud Security Professional. Anyways, please advise me if you do not see the question 74.
Yeah, we see the question. Alex, can I ask you a question about the CCSP?
There was no question about CCSP. I just
I'm
gave an
asking.
example. Say it again.
I'm asking if I can ask you a question about the CCSP.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, well, if others don't object, because it's also the time paid by others.
Are you taking it through ISC squared because it's you prefer it or it's better in some way, or is it just because you already have the CISSP and therefore it's easier to just continue with ISC squared? Or do you think the vendor specific ones have any merit?
So I will keep it short because I am officially authorized instructor by SC Square. They allow me to take it for free, the training and the exam. That's why. So they give it to me for free, so I can, yeah, why not?
So then, hypothetically, if you're going out of pocket, would you still go with ISC squared, or would you do something vendor specific?
For teaching, for working, for presenting, delivering training, and keep in mind, I do a lot of delivery in Middle East, in Saudi Arabia, and other countries. So IC Square is in high demand. It's absolutely in high demand. Personally, I would prefer to have something from Azure or Google Cloud or AWS, but IC Square is extremely in high demand. And just yesterday, I talked with a company from South Africa. They want me to do like three boot camps there. Yeah, it's high demand. It's like selling hotcake. No, sorry, what's the expression? Selling whatever. It is in high demand. But personally, if I had a choice, I would probably go with AWS, like a full track, like being, they have different tracks. But yeah, anyways, question 74. Question 74. But yeah, keep in mind, I'm not just working with US market. It's and I speak more than one language, fortunately. So, anyways, sorry for this deviation, guys. Question 74. For how long can financial records be retained? Right. So the context is retention and it's financial, right? That's a tricky question because it's not really related to cybersecurity, right? Financial records. But if you work by exclusion, right? If you work by exclusion, you arrive to what? And please feel free to speak out by exclusion, your reasoning and stuff. So now, Charlie, is that a good answer? There's no present period, preset period. Sorry, there's no preset period. Is that a good answer?
Well, it could be alpha or delta. However, only if alpha is longer than delta.
No, no.
Because like with
Absolutely.
healthcare, I'm in healthcare, so we have to keep a patient's records for at least 8 years, or at least 6 years, and then 8 years after they turn 18. Either one. Those are jurisdiction and regulatory requirements. But if we choose to keep them for 10 years, yeah. But still, delta would be the more correct answer.
I am flabbergasted. I am flabbergasted, to be honest. I am flabbergasted because you suggested that A could be the valid answer. I am flabbergasted. But anyways, okay.
Well, you know how sometimes they say you got to pick the best answer?
Yeah, but
I think you answered your question. At the end of the day, it's all about legal requirements in the
Yes.
city, the government, right? So the
exactly.
healthcare, their delta, they couldn't keep it no less than 7 years. If they
Correct.
take it further, then that's a risk that they're taking. But the bottom line is the delta, which is the legal entity. And then if you want to take it a step further, they really shouldn't keep data longer than it should be intended, because that is a risk itself.
Absolutely. That's a very good explanation. And so
She
when you
expressed it
see,
better than I did.
no, but if you look at the words as long as, that will never be correct answer. If you see something that says as long as, no. So it is delta. Delta is the correct answer. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to admit, Alice, I was flabbergasted as well.
I mean,
Say
the
that.
words as long as, I mean, they probably would like to, because potentially, even 50 years later, they could do some statistical analysis and say, oh, look, you're grandfather of these people. You have your grandpeople, your grandfather had this disease, so you likely to have it too, and blah blah blah. And so you pay insurance 3 times higher, right? I mean, hypothetically, that's what they do, right? They want you to pay more insurance.
Now I'm interested to find out how 23andMe and Ancestry.com deals with that data.
I I don't know. I don't know, guys. I've never worked with HIPAA, to be honest. I never worked in health. Well, actually,
No, that's privacy data. That's not HIPAA. 23andMe,
yeah, but
right?
yeah, yeah.
Well, unless I'm mistaken, when it comes to 23andMe, how they deal with it is they've already had data stolen, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Not well. How about that? Not well.
Wow. Didn't know that.
Well,
Thanks, Alan.
Oh, jeez. Trust
for
me.
me, for
Trust me.
me,
When OPM sent me a letter years ago when I was in the military
Uh-huh.
saying that my clearance data had been stolen by
oh yeah,
Chinese
yeah.
affiliated actors, I knew I knew
What?
then that. Oh yeah, yeah,
I
yep,
got the same letter. I got the same
yep.
letter. You don't
And then I got
remember
offered free
Credit money.
identity protection for
Credit
5
mine, all
years.
of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
No,
Anyway,
a lot of us got this letter. It was like 30 million records stolen, right? It was very famous OPM hack.
Yep.
I mean, if you don't know about this, after we finish today, you should definitely. I mean, it was not only the cybersecurity event; it was political battle. You remember?
Yep.
The
Yep.
OPM guys were grilled for that. Yeah, I
Yep.
got the same letter. It was like, I'm sorry, pardon me, pardon my French, but yeah, Chinese, Russians, they have more data about me than. Anyways, sorry. Let's move on because it's precious time. It's precious time, right? So, question 75. Yeah, everybody. I think a lot of people who did SS 85 and stuff, like you do the clearance with the intelligence community or whatever, and you provide like so much data, you like spill your guts, right? And then you get letter that all of this is stolen. It's very disheartening. Very disheartening. Yeah.
So
So
it should be beta. No. But I don't know if there's some way of justifying
retention
it.
lifespan for 5 years. So the question is, can that lifespan ever be ignored? That's the question. So there's no question about 5 years or 6 years. It's not a question about what it contains. The question is, can it ever be ignored?
I'm going to say Delta because to Cliff, I think's point,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I
there's-
was going to say. Cliff pretty much answered that one.
Right. Because we have legal requirements and local requirements for data retention, but the justification of the need can be both financial and considerations if you're talking about legal for storing private information for longer than the retention period. So I'm going to go with Delta.
I agree. Cliff,
Well,
you want to weigh in? I'm just
so
curious. I was curious Cliff had to say. I would.
I know because I said bravo.
So,
It's your time to shine now, Cliff. Go ahead. Let's.
so should I read all explanations or just
Please.
the correct one? All of them. So A is not correct because the retention lifespan is typically set. It cannot be overwritten or ignored except under predefined conditions, circumstances, right? So B, beta, is not correct because retention lifespan is typically set and cannot be overwritten. Charlie is correct
Yep. Got it.
because the retention lifespan is typically set and cannot be overwritten or ignored. However, if the data used as part of a legal investigation, if the data is used as part of legal investigation, must be retained until the investigation is complete, and the lifespan begins at the end of the investigation legally. So that's the reasoning.
And I like to add business justification to C. So if it's under predefined circumstances, it has to be business justification. It can't just be somebody deciding in their department they're going to keep them forever. I think that, to me.
Well, look at how the question is phrased. If legislation sets retention, if legislation, local, state, or federal, we don't know, international, we don't know. But if legislation sets a retention lifespan of 5 years, can that lifespan ever be ignored? And legal court justification is always valid justification because if the court rules, of course, yeah, I mean, we can see that how they and again, I'm not in favor. I'm not um, I'm not saying it's good or bad. I mean, it's something that happens, right? So, but yeah, we can see. I mean, I tried not to read the news, but every time I open news, there's some case where judge has just overruled something or did something, and I'm like, okay, all right. Anyways, question 76. Let's not waste our time. So, which of the following is not? So, pay attention when you're on the exam, whether it's not or it's positive. So, there's positive questions or the reverse question, right? Not example of data at rest. So,
Charlie.
Charlie's perfect answer. Yes, absolutely.
It's data in use.
And that's a very new concept, you know that? Data in use. Have you seen that concept 5 years ago? I haven't. It's a very new concept, but it is, yeah, being used now extensively. Data in use. So question 77. And I'm announcing the question number, so there's no confusion when I give the answer. Yes. Oh,
A.
yes, that's a very good answer. Data in transition. Oh, did I scroll too fast? Yeah. Question 78. So, and this is the case when you need to choose the best answer and the best because there's so many frameworks and potentially some frameworks may not have high or may not have moderate or may not have medium. Actually, medium is very rare, right? And I'm not mean like a steak cooking. Actually, today I'm planning Yeah. So it's not about steaks, not about um not about grilling steaks. Medium, yeah, medium. Anyways, the right answer is what?
Delta.
Delta. Yeah.
Delta, yes, absolutely. High. High. It's a very good choice. And I'm glad that you it's not about it's partially about knowledge, but I'm glad that you're getting hang of the reasoning how IC square phrases the questions and offers you the options, because now you're getting the sense of what you will see on the exam. It's partially about knowledge, but it's more about reasoning, right? So question 79. Yeah, I don't like this question, to be honest. Because Charlie makes me suspect. But yeah. But then again, if you, one of you mentioned that you worked with healthcare, so that's probably makes you comfortable.
Leaning towards D.
Yeah, Delta is the good answer here, even though I don't like it. Well, because most of my experience personally, federal government.
Yeah, but
Federal,
if your organization isn't so high stakes, then you could just look around and see what other competitors are doing.
no, not really. No, federal government, no. Especially uh, my last client was Department of Homeland Security. Doesn't matter what the other companies do. No.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen an example of other companies, preferably with similar business objectives and comparable sizes. I've never seen a third-party baseline catalog. So if somebody else has an example, that would be awesome. But
No, I think healthcare is a very good example.
I know the
Education. Yeah, go ahead.
military reach out to other commands and other and ask for what they're doing. So maybe that's what they mean by C, because they are their similar business.
I have nothing to say. I will just agree with you guys. No, because my experience is limited to federal government, and so I would. But the correct answer is Delta. C. I mean, don't not. I don't mean C, not letter C. I mean, sorry. I spent so much time in Latin America, so I mechanically say C, meaning yes. Sorry, I apologize. But the correct answer is Delta. All of the above. Or they didn't put all of, it's just all the above. Yeah. Anyways, Delta is the correct answer. But yeah, I'm sorry. Sometimes I mechanically say C or some other Spanish words because like so much time here. I mean, before before that, I lived in France and other countries, and yeah. Anyways, question number 80. 80.
Is vague because if we're talking SMTP, that's port 25 would be no, but eventually most of the email providers did start including encryption in their emails.
Mhm.
So I think this question's vague.
Well, yeah, and I mentioned that a few times. RFC 821, John Postel. If you go to IETF website and you look for the RFC 821, then you know the right answer. Yeah, it's sorry, I scrolled before I said. Yeah, it's the B, beta. Email is not secure on its own, and I mean, You think about 20 years ago, you're a student and you go to George Washington University or whatever university you are on campus. There in the public spaces, they have those ports, RJ45 ports. If you connect your laptop there, you can sniff the whole environment. You can sniff, you can record, uh, and you could see in clear text all those email messages as long as you know how to, what encoding to imply. I mean, it's reality. I mean, yeah, people have done it. So I don't want to say that I did it, but I wouldn't ever do anything like this, obviously. So, but yeah. So if anybody has any doubts about questions, question 80. Question 80, correct answer is beta. While email can be made secure with extensions, not natively. So, yeah.
B or D? I don't know which one you're saying. Are you saying Delta for
No,
question 80?
question 80, the
Is
correct
B.
answer is beta. Oh,
All right.
bravo, bravo,
Okay.
bravo. I guess I should revert to military acronym. But yeah, bravo. So we are on question 81. Generally speaking, who or what provides link encryption? Oh my gosh. I don't like this question because it's so open, right? So it's open-ended. But
Bravo.
if you, um, can you explain why you think Bravo?
The reason I'm thinking that is because not the organization or the service providers, they usually don't tell you what encryption to use, but say a browser, you can use HTTPS, which I'm just taking a wild guess is what I'm doing.
No, I understand. It's a swag. It's a
What?
swag.
I would think it would be C, service provider, because don't they provide link to end-to-end encryption for, isn't that considered?
Yeah, this
They accept, you
I don't
accept-
like this. I don't like this question because they don't give you much context, right? So let me read what they say for beta or Bravo. Link encryption encrypts all of the data along a communication path. So organizations may purchase services like Q1 line or which blah blah blah, but Q1 doesn't have encryption. So the correct answer is Charlie. And the explanation is link encryption is performed by service providers such as data communication provider at the frame relay network. So, and I agree partially, and I partially agree with Bravo. But while Bravo is, I don't know, link encryption is not provided by browser. So, but you're right. I would say, I mean, to be honest, when I looked at this question first time, I chose Delta. Because you choose to provide encryption if you want, you do it site to site, right? VPN. But that was my reasoning. But the correct answer is Charlie in this case. I chose Delta actually, to be honest, because in my mind, you want encryption? Yeah, you pay for it. You provide this site-to-site encryption. You create those. You buy those VPN concentrators, and you provide it. But I was wrong. I was wrong. Anyways, question 82. I'm sorry, if I made some noise, it's moving my headset. It's kind of related question, right? And so, if you think about this, does it have to be A or B? No, it could be both, right? You could choose, right?
I say delta.
I agree.
Yeah, delta is a good answer, but you remember we talked about IPsec, and I told you there.
Because usually a VPN you set up like, and that's a tunneling protocol also. So it's an end to
It's an
end.
end-to-end, yeah.
Mhm. Absolutely, excellent, excellent. So delta is correct answer, just to confirm, in case some of you missed that. So question 82, delta is the correct answer, end to end. Question 83, let's scroll it up a little bit so you can see all of the options. Oh my gosh, I hate those questions that are more than 10 words. All right, which of these statements accurately describes an aspect of link encryption and its potential impact on data security in the following scenario? So that's a scenario-based question. A network security specialist, okay, at an international corporation frequently transmits sensitive corporate data across various global locations. Oh my gosh, sounds like United Nations, right? Network security specialist. Given the nature of the data and the diverse transmission routes, the company is exploring enhanced encryption methods to secure its data in transit. Gosh.
I'm going to go with C.
Okay. I haven't finished reading, to be honest. You're reading very quickly. You're
Probably too quickly. I need to slow down.
no, it's good. It's good. It's a compliment. It's not criticism. I'm just saying I'm like maybe well, I'm drinking my coffee, so I'm getting up to the speed, but I don't want to say the correct answer just for another 10 seconds because I want people to process it. So you suggested C. Let's see. Link encryption encrypts. Oh gosh. Link encryption encrypts both data and the routing information in the packet, requiring decryption and re-encryption at each mode in the communication path, potentially exposing data at these points. All right. I don't know. I'm not gonna read it all because it's a big question, long explanations. The correct answer is Charlie. Charlie, letter C. And let me give you the reasoning. Link encryption encrypts all data within a packet, including the routing information. At each node along the communication path, such as satellites, so it includes satellites and routers, the packet is decrypted and then re-encrypted. This process ensures traffic confidentiality, but also potentially exposes data at these intermediate points if a node is compromised. Yeah. So, question 83. If imagine you ignore the whole question and you only focus on the first keywords. Which of these statements accurately described an aspect of link encryption and its potential impact on data security? So and you ignore the rest of the question. So sometimes when you're gonna take the CISSP exam, you have to do this. Just ignore the rest. Just focus on the key words in the question.
Right, because B describes end-to-end encryption, so I discarded that one.
Right, by exclusion. Yeah, I do exclusion. But I mean, the biggest problem with this question is what? Is the size of the question, right? They intentionally try to muddy the water. They try to confuse you. Blah 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 blah. It doesn't matter who's international network security specialist. Who cares about this? You need to focus on the question. Accurately describes the aspect of link encryption. That's what you need to focus on. So question 84. And we have about 220 questions, I think 210 maybe. So if we do it at this pace, we're going to cover them all. And the slides, we're going to cover all the slides. So right now we're on schedule because domain 5 is very small. So, all right. And again, here it's kind of also long, but which form of encryption does a VPN typically use to protect data in transmission? And then you can discard the rest of it, right? Because it doesn't matter. That's the first words are important. Which form encryption? Which form encryption VPN typically use? Yeah, I remember in 2004 setting up OpenVPN. It was a product, it was free product called OpenVPN. I remember setting it up at our office in Firefox, so people could, local employees, our employees could connect. Yeah, teleworking was not a big thing back then. So, anyways, I shouldn't talk, but give you another 10 seconds and then we will move on because we don't want to waste too much time. So 10 seconds more. So think about question A, option A and B. Would it be asymmetric? Could be, but for example, back in 2004, it was still very rare. Could it be symmetric? It was usually symmetric. We would give the keys. Did it matter? No. Would it be link encryption? Should we go back to explanation about link encryption? So VPNs typically use end-to-end encryption to protect data in transmission. And in this method, data is encrypted, all the source by the sender, and remains encrypted until it reaches the intended recipient, who then decrypts it. So the correct answer is delta. Yeah. So I would C is a very plausible. It's very good option. So but D is the best. It's end to end. And so when you have a VPN client on your laptop, you connect to VPN concentrator, like let's say you connect your government client or whoever, right? And then all the other applications on your laptop would be using this end-to-end encryption going through this tunnel, right? The tunnel established, your VPN client establishes tunnel. There's a virtual, you remember there's a virtual interface, network interface, and then everything just goes through it. So it's end-to-end, yeah, in that sense. So domain 3, question 85.
Delta.
Delta is the best answer. It's kind of easy, right? Very good. Yeah. Delta. Least privilege is the correct answer. Question 86.
So I have a question. So least privilege is broad and need to know is under that, more granular. So like I think of it being in the military. I've never been in the military. I'm just saying. And they have access to different documents, but certain people, well, a user would have access clearance to a certain document, and then certain line items or information they would need to know. They would have to have that need to know. Is that how it goes? I think that's what I read, something like that, Alex.
For the exam purposes, let me read you the official feedback. Okay.
Mhm.
So for the option A, the official feedback says need to know is usually understood to mean that the person or organization in question has a lawful task, duty, or purpose to learn or make use of the meaning of the meaning or data inherent in the information. So the answer is less. The answer is less fitting when compared to less privilege. So it's less fitting. They say it's less fitting, and yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Say it.
No, I'm listening. At this, I'm still confused.
So okay,
I don't know why this still.
well, let's collaborate and let's figure it out together. So the correct answer is least privilege is the practice of granting a user the minimum permissions necessary to perform their explicit job function.
Okay. What's need to know?
The need to know is understood to mean that the person or organization in question has a lawful task, duty, or purpose to learn or make use of the meaning of the data and inherent information. All right, so granting users only the permissions required to carry out the task. So, granting users only the permissions. So that's the least privilege, obviously, because if you establish need to know, that's all already past the point of when you grant the permissions. So you grant permissions first, and then additional steps. So think in terms of an onboarding process. So you onboarded somebody. It's already the person is already employed. The person already working,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they already have the permissions. And then additional step, let's say you, like somebody mentioned DoD, Department of Defense, let's say you work at DoD, then you have a project, ABC, whatever, and then you look at the available personnel, and then you give them additional need to know access.
Okay.
So you see,
Sure.
when you hire them, they already hired. They have the least privilege. They already have the permissions to carry out their tasks. They hired a GS7 or GS12 or GS15, and that GS they have the permissions to carry out their tasks. But then when they work on a specific project, the need to know would be involved.
Right. That's what I kind of think. Thank you.
So
Right.
then would need to know be related to individual objects?
That's what
Individual
I.
objects or individual projects or individual targets
Or
or
records.
individual
Record.
records. Yeah, excellent. Yeah.
That's kind of what.
So that's the distinction. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, in reference to say like a mandatory access,
Mm-hmm.
model in terms of classifications, right? If we think about confidential versus sensitive, or military confidential versus secret versus top secret, need to know you could be granted a secret clearance, right? But then you might not be granted to that particular secret document because you have no required need to know about it.
Right.
If that explains it
Yeah.
a little bit better in terms of that.
Yes, but you do have least privilege, right?
Yeah, so I look at that as a logical enforcement method,
Oh,
right?
okay.
How about this? Need to know indicates the user has a legitimate reason to access, while least privilege is the enforcement method that limits that access to something. That's the way I look at it. Maybe that's not correct.
It is correct. It is correct.
Oh.
But let's consider a commercial environment, private company environment. And I work with a company. I hate the company, but it's a private company, collects a lot of data about other people, then sells it to Facebook. And Facebook, they like to use them because directly they cannot collect this data. They would be in a lot of trouble. But so I described the environment. So think now, imagine you're a manager of this company. You hire developers. You give them the least privilege to see data in databases.
Yeah.
They see a lot of data, but not necessarily all data. And then somebody comes to you and says, "Oh, look, I just got a call from Google, and they want us to use this data, create this product. So let's do this project. It's like a 7-day project. Can we do it in 7 days?" You say, "Oh, we can do it in 3 days or 10 days." Fine. Who do you need? Oh, I need this guy, and this girl. And then, but why this guy? Oh, because I trust him. Okay. And so then you give them access to specific set of data on the need to know, because they need to know this data for this project. And they need to, you see what I'm getting at? So they need to create a special derive special product from this set of data, statistical analysis or something like what people smoke, what type of IQOS or whatever they vaping, right? For example, and that's a need to know. Nobody else needs to know who smokes IQOS. They have access to the whole set of database, but that's a least privilege, and because they work in there, but need to know it's a specific set of data, specific product. I don't know if
No, that makes sense. Thank you.
yeah. Question 86. I'm sorry for those who already got this. And they kind of beating the dead horse. But oh, my last client told me, "Please don't say this. Please don't say this. I'm vegetarian." And I'm like, "I'm sorry." No, some people are very sensitive, so don't say this. In America, there's expression, "This horse is dead, but stop beating it." And he's like, "Oh," and I'm like, "I'm sorry." Anyways, 86, question 86. Original defense in depth model defined all, but which of the following? Oh my gosh. So you have to work by exclusion here, right? So data controls protect data and are part of layered defense. They protect data controls. So that's one of the layers, right? So host controls are placed at endpoints. You protect laptops, cell phones, right? So that's another layer.
B.
Yeah. Application controls protect the application, are part of the layer defense. So you protect your applications. So the correct answer, and read the question again. It says defined all, but which, so it's the reverse, not. So software, um, other controls defined are internal network, perimeter, physical, and policies, including procedures and awareness, but not software, which is synonymous with application. So the correct answer is beta, B. Bravo, bravo. I guess I should use bravo. So we still have 6 minutes, right? So question 87, and I hate these questions. I think they should exclude the security model questions of the whole security models. And you remember why I showed you the original PDFs written in 72 and 77. Why do you still need I
All right, that would be B.
B.
yeah,
No,
B. Bravo is correct answer, and it's because the keywords is already accessed information to prevent conflict of interest, right? So you can skip the whole text. You just need to see the keywords conflict of interest, and then you should know it's Brewer and Nash or the Chinese wall, right? So question 88.
D.
Well, let's.
Mm-hmm.
Any other opinions?
I kind of agree with them because there's other two I know. I think it is. Yep, I agree. D.
So delta is the correct answer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Let's scroll down. So these are very important. Question 87, 88. Please look at them carefully, because some of you may be trying to memorize the star rule, the triple star, the 5 stars. But these questions are very representative of what you're gonna see in the exam. So, all right, question 89. Oh my gosh, this one is really tough, actually. Which security engineering technical process provides security-related system data and information? Security-related. The process, technical process, provides security.
It's gotta be D.
You know, all of this could be correct answers depending on where you're working at your company, because it's internal company designation of the process, right? And they can come up with, they may say it's okay, it's business and mission analysis, and they may never mention system analysis process, right? or design definition process. But for the exam, please remember, for the exam purposes, remember it's Charlie. It's the design definition process. And I'm telling you, all of this could be correct depending on company where you're working at. So the official explanation says the design definition process provides security related data and information about the system and its elements. So, all right. And again, if you chose any of this, don't feel bad because I can understand. I can see how you may be thinking. Yeah. So question 90. That will be the last question we'll review today. We'll stop at question 90. So which security engineering enabling, you remember we had a list of enabling processes, and somebody actually asked me, one of you asked me, what are the enabling processes? That are the enabling processes, they support the other processes, right? They make other processes possible, right?
I want to
So-
say bravo because it says the qualifications and selection.
Exactly. But the key word here is enabling. And we have a, I think it was day 2. We had the list of these processes. There was enabling processes and human resource management was there. So it is Bravo. It is Bravo. Bravo is the correct answer. Yeah. All right, guys, we are at 9 a.m. and we are right on schedule for now. Let's not be. Tomorrow we need to move faster, and so we have more time for the questions and stuff. Have a great day, and thank you for being with me. All right.
Thank you.
Have a good
Okay.
one.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye.
Thank you.
Right.
Bye.